Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and welcome to the show, y'all. In the penitentiary, when you owe somebody something, you pay it back. Because the price that you might have to pay and how you might have to pay it, you don't want that. Because it ain't never what you think. It ain't never what you think. I remember when I first came in, you know, a lot of guys would borrow things or get something given to them by somebody and then just laugh it off. Wouldn't bother to pay it back and played the guys for week and all this and that. And then, like clockwork, a few days later, here them booty boys come, they bump down. And it's going down. You know, in here, it's not about the item. It's not even about what they do to you if you don't pay. It's about respect. It's about boundaries. It's about you understanding that in order for things to work in here, you have to play a role that keeps the peace. Now, there are times when things ain't going to be peaceful. Because that's when it gets, you know what I'm saying, those times when it's like, it done got out of hand. And order has to be restored. And they can come in many different forms. You got some people that think that they can get things back in order through the meanest of ways, you know, honestly. You know, you got people in here that'll take your manhood. You got people in here that'll beat you within an inch of your life. And the reason that you got these so many different avenues of trying to solve problems, because you got all these different personalities, and you got a lot of people in here that they only understand violence. They only understand violence. So when you first find yourself introduced into this environment, and don't get it twisted, when you're on the town, those types of individuals are out there. But you don't see them as much. It's not forced upon you as much. But when you're in here, this is a small community. Even though you might be on a compound with 900, 1,000 people, 2,000, 3,000 people, it's still a small community. And word travels fast in here about who's keeping it 100 and who's not. And it could cause you problems because you got people that are waiting for things to happen, waiting on individuals not to keep it 100, waiting on individuals not to be, you know what I'm saying, a person of their word. So then they can act out whatever sick fantasies that they have. And it gets gruesome. It gets real gruesome. And this story that I'm about to tell y'all is about this dude named Dion. It's Mac D, you know what I'm saying, but Dion is his name, right? And he was new to the penitentiary. And he came in, you know, he trying to make himself look like he belonged in here and all of these different types of things, right? But he didn't have nothing. And I try to keep it cool with everybody, but like when a brother first comes in, you know, and after they, you know, make sure they pass security check and all this and that, you usually get a care package. But this brother came in on a day when everything had been loaned out. Everything had been given out and waiting on store day to get it back in or whatever the case may be, right? But I always kept stuff. So this brother, after he come by the cell, you know, brothers tried to introduce him to me, and I don't really get out like that when you first come in. When I was in rotation, I don't really want to talk to the new buddies, period, until and after they pass the security check, because I don't know what's on your mind. But this particular dude, you know, brother them bought him by the cell because they didn't have nothing, wasn't nothing in the box. And they were like, Joe T, can you mess with him? Well, I'll mess with him based on what he say. You feel me? My thing was, are you hungry, bro? He was like, yeah. I said, okay, do you want anything? He was like, yeah, let me get a couple of soups and some tuna, you know, things like that, right? A little bit of meal, you know what I'm saying? Probably cost $5 total, right? And he let it come out of his mouth. Man, bro, I'll pay you back. I'll pay you back. And I said, listen, don't ever tell anybody in here that's giving you something that you're going to pay them back unless you mean that. Now, my uncle taught me that a long time ago. If you want something, say, can you help me? Will you help me? I don't have the means to pay it back. Then that person knows that I'm just giving this to you. But if you say, I'll pay it back, then I'm going to be expecting it back. And I said, bro, don't worry about it. This is cool. This is on me. And he said, no, I'll pay my debts. I said, whatever, man. That's what's up to you. You won't pay it back. So I give him the food. He goes about his business. Right? He gone on. Now, I got ears everywhere, even with individuals that's not up under me back in the day. Everybody always wants to come to tell the guy that is the guy everything that's going on. Good news, bad news, whatever. They like talking to you. So after about 3 or 4 days go by, and then the commissary truck came, and don't get it twisted, they let him put in a special commissary order. So I really wasn't expecting anything back from that order anyway, because he's got to get on his feet, get his hygiene, get all this and that, whatever the case may be. So I wasn't expecting anything back anyway. But I see him, he got a big bag. A big bag. He taking it to a cell. He in there, he getting everything situated, and by then the security check had come back clear. He's on deck is what it is and all this and that, right? So now I hold him to a higher standard. Your word is your bond. It's simple as that. So a couple of days go by. Like I said, I really wasn't expecting the stuff anyway, and if he'd have bought it to me, I was going to just tell him keep it anyway. I know he going to stand on what he say. So, but he don't come by. Another week go by, he don't come by. Now he in the cell with a peon. And this peon, he cool with everybody, in that blue, right? So he come by, and me and him happen to be playing chess one day. And he said, Joe T, can I tell you something, man? I said, I guess you can, because you got a mouth. What's up? Talk to me. And he said, man, Dion ain't straight, man. And I don't like peons saying this kind of stuff, so I held my composure, because I knew he had to get this out. This is selling. I said, what you mean by that, man? And be careful with what you say. He said, man, dude in the cell talking about, man, he ain't giving you that back. You know what I'm saying? He said, man, you had plenty of stuff on the shelf, all this and that. You didn't really need that. And he don't know why you even wanted him to pay it back anyway. Now, I'm not telling this peon what the conversation was about. I'm not going to tell him that Dion offered to give it back and I told him don't worry about it. I'm not going to tell him all that. I'm just listening. And he was just kept on telling me how this dude is spitting venom and talking bad about everybody. He said, these brothers around here seem to be weak and all this and that. I said, okay, cool. That's what's up. I said, just keep that to yourself, though. Don't tell nobody else that, right? He said, and then I told him, I said, I appreciate you telling me that. Then we finished playing the chess. I tapped him on up, 2 out of 3. And then he got on down. So time is rolling on. The penitentiary moves on, regardless of what's going on. It don't matter if somebody's getting stuck. It don't matter if it's peace. The penitentiary moves on. It runs itself. So days turns to weeks and weeks turns to months. You understand what I'm saying? And Dion is learning the ways of the penitentiary and the people, that are in the penitentiary. And he's taking advantage of everybody. He always borrowing this from somebody and talking about the money he got and all this and that and the people that's holding him down. But he don't never go to the store except for on state draw day. State draw day, for those of you that don't know, is when we get paid. When we get paid, our little pennies that they pay us is on state draw day. It's usually, the 15th of every month or maybe a week before that. But that's when we get paid. So he's at the truck every stage. It got a big bag. But he's got a reputation now of not paying his debts. And people are talking. And he's not just borrowing from, the brothers. He borrowing from peons. He borrowing from the opposition. He borrowing from anybody he see with something because he think he got that mouthpiece that can talk you out of something. But he always put them last words on it. I got you. Now everybody's starting to whisper about it. Right? Everybody's starting to whisper about him and talk about him. How you can't give him nothing he ain't gonna pay. And the worst thing you can do is get a bad label on your name in here. It's somebody that don't keep your word. That's the worst thing you could do. Don't keep your word in here. You feel me? You could be, I'm gonna just keep it real with you. You could be a robber, stick-up kid, booty bandit, all these different types of things, but keep your word in the penitentiary. If people can't rely on what you say, and you sticking to what you say, you're gonna have a bad time in here. Because they don't trust you now. Right? Now, don't get it twisted. Everybody in here is in here for something, unless you're innocent. And there are some people in here that are innocent. But people want to know if you tell them something, they can stand on that. And something as small as a noodle can change that for you. So when Dion happened to borrow a noodle from one of these hard hitters, right? He ain't in the business, but he a hard hitter. Everybody respect him. And he's the type of dude that he ain't let nobody take nothing. He was in the penitentiary before I got here. You understand what I'm saying? And they had a different code back then. I'm talking about it was cold and it was brutal. Brutal. If you say something, you better stand on it. If you don't stand on it, consequences for that are immediate. Immediate. So Dion, it wasn't nothing but a couple of soups. And back then, soups ain't number 17 cents. So he got 34 cents invested in this little caper that he wants to pull, right? By convincing this brother to let him have a couple of soups. And the brother told him, I want my soups back. When are you going to give them back? He tells him, I'm going to give them back next week. Now that next week is not state draw week. It's not state draw week. He said, your word is your bond. Now, this individual, he knows the reputation that Dion has got. But he decides to take a chance anyway. Some people will say he shouldn't have done that. But see, you got some people in here that look for opportunities like that. I done told y'all that. And he's looking for an opportunity to teach somebody something that might save his life later on down the line. See, he one of them type of dudes. His mind's so twisted, he really doing them a favor. You understand? Now, you're going to feel what I'm saying in a minute. Just follow me here. So, he give Dion the soups. That next week, Dion act like he don't even know the dude. So dude ain't the type to bump down on you and ask for his soup. He wants you to come to him. That's how it work in here. I shouldn't have to remind you that you owe me. You know you owe me. I'm not finna come to you and say, let me get mine. And that's how dude was. That's how it is in here for the most part. Now you got some people that'll be waiting by your cell door when you get your commissary bag. Let me get that. You feel me? But most people in here, nah. They not gonna remind you that you owe them. But they gonna come see you. And when they decide to come see you, it ain't gonna be a good thing. So this dude, he leaning in the cut. And he waiting. Dion don't say nothing. He don't say nothing about nothing. Now this dude, his seller, he another one of them dudes that always come tell me stuff. So he come to me, he said, Joe T, man, look here, man. Your brother need to pay it, man. If he don't pay him, man, it's gonna be a problem. He already talking about it. I said, really, what he doing? He said, man, the man sit up all night shopping the butcher, man, talking about, man, he's not taking no shorts from nobody. And he don't care if his gangsters get involved or not. He said, he finna teach dude a lesson. I said, shoot, let him teach him then. I said, he need to be taught a lesson. He need to be taught a lesson. So word starting to creep out. See, this dude that came to talk to me, his seller, he don't want this smoke because he don't want to go to the whole pen of investigation because the whole cell going to the hole. So he trying to, what we call in here, stir the pot. And when you stir the pot, basically, you trying to spread the rumor. It's not a rumor, but you trying to spread the business on that penitentiary grapevine, that 1-800, you know what I'm saying, inmate line, where people start talking about it. And then if people start talking about it, it's going to get to enough people, and then maybe it can get resolved before it pop off. That's what he was doing, stirring the pot. So look, I already know. Now some of the other brothers know. And they coming to us like, man, what we gonna do about it? Because, you know, dude ain't playing. We can't let him hurt, bro. I said, why not? Why not? I said, all of y'all been around here saying the same thing about him. He don't pay his debts. Now he done get with somebody that don't play about their money. Why can't we let him get hurt? Why should we jump into that? Why should we intervene in that? Boy, you know that ain't right and this and that. I said, look, what he doing ain't right. He don't want to pay his bills. So why should we worry about that? Why should we worry about that? They looking at me like, Joe T, that ain't straight. I said, I tell you what, dude. We don't deal with poor paymasters, do we? They were like, nope, we don't. I said, so anybody gonna write him up? But Joe T, that's a peon. I said, look, go holler at dude and assume the debt. And then write him up. But Joe T, if we do that, well, this is what we got to do. I said, well, I know what you got to do. Go do it. Go assume the debt. Tell bro you owe that he owe you now. Then when he don't pay you, Write him up. Simple as that. So they go holler at the old head and say, look, man, can we give you these noodles? He look at them. He don't want to take them. He don't want to take them. But he take them. He take the noodles. He said, look, next time it ain't going to be no compromise. They were like, that's what's up, old school. Appreciate you. Now they go to bro and say, hey, bro, you owed him, right? And he look at him like, you really don't want to answer. You know what I'm saying? He said, why y'all in my business? And they looked at him and said, hey, bro, you owe us now. You got a couple of days to get that debt paid. He said, bro, y'all all in my business. They walked off. They ain't even trying to hear that. He know what's coming. He know what's coming. So he got a couple of days to get those soups. Ain't nobody in the pot. He going to everybody trying to borrow the soups, right? Ain't nobody messing with him. Ain't nobody messing with him. He can't get them. So he panicking. A couple of days go by. Here come that paperwork. Poor paymaster. He go to the COS. The COS look at it. He said, what you want me to do with this? I said, do what you would normally do. Come and asking me. I want to see how this thing play out. I want to see what y'all do. They bring him up. They ask him how he plead. He plead not guilty. Because he's saying he never owed the folks. He never owed the folks. Now don't get me wrong. Technically, he was right. He didn't get that from the guys. But the situation played itself out to where the brothers wanted to try to slow something down and keep a peon from putting a butcher knife up in it. So they took and paid the debt and assumed the debt. So then he do owe the folk. It's as simple as that. He got to get that back. Ain't nobody getting nothing for free. So check this out. So brother them talking about it, and then, you know, he had one of the other brothers trying to represent him, right? And that brother's arguing the case hard. But he know he argued a lost cause, because when everybody's mind is made up, look here, man, the finger all over the scale. So I'm not in the room when all this is going down. So they come to me and said, look, bro, if he's found guilty, what'd he get? I said, man, look here. 6 minutes. No cover up. Ow. Brothers representative said, that's a little too harsh, T. I said, nah, it ain't. Not compared to what he was going to get. If the peon would have got hold to him, then we got to get in it. I said, so this is just for him. Besides, he always talking to everybody around here weak. Let's see how weak we are. Let's just see. That's what I'm interested to know. How weak are we? You feel what I'm saying? So check this out. Look, this what happened. They go back in. They tell him, look, bro, they're going to find you guilty. You're going to get 6 minutes, no cover up. You plead guilty, you can get half of that. That's how Joe T work. He said, man, I ain't pleading guilty to something I ain't do, right? It was 30 seconds, guilty. Now he got 6 minutes, no cover up. So now the dude that's representing, one of the guys that's representing, he come to me and said, Joe T, look here, man, go easy on him. This is first time. I was one of those type of individuals that if you come to me before the day of and you plead your case and you ask for leniency, you know what I'm saying? Explain to me what you was thinking. I'll let you talk your way out of it. I'll let you do that. Because see, a lot of people only respond when there's real fear on the table. And look here, I don't care who you are, what you think. If you listen to what I'm saying right now, let me explain to you what 6 minutes of beating it feels like. After the first 2 minutes, you're going to be out of breath, right? I ain't going to send 6 of them in there at one time. I'm going to send 3 in there. The first 2 minutes, you're going to have 3 brothers. And then while you in the midst of getting your brains beat out, I'm going to send the other 3 in there. And then the 3 that's on you, they going to leave out, right? And then that's 2 minutes with somebody that's 3 brothers that's fresh, hitting hard. And I'm making them hold you up. Every time you fall, the clock starts over. Every time you say stop, please stop, the clock starts over. You're going to take 6 minutes standing on your feet. And if you want to fight back, fight back. And then after them 2 minutes is over with, then I'm going to send them other 3 brothers back in there, and it's going to be all 6 of them on you for the last 2 minutes. How about that? That's hard. So I'm not finna play with you. So I'm going to let him plead his case. So he comes to me and he's pleading his case. And if you want to know what he said, you're going to have to tune in for the conclusion of this episode, right? Because it's coming right up next. You understand what I'm saying? This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.